Hello everybody, Tyrone the God 3 here, and this is a discussion video that I'm doing. This is a discussion video I'm doing because I think the topic that I'm going to discuss is actually quite interesting because I just seen it come up a couple of times and I wanted to, talk about it. Now, we all know the game Sonic Generations that goes through classic and modern Sonics, past for all the games that he's been through recently in the last 20 years. Well, I've been looking around and I was playing a couple of Mario songs on YouTube, and when I ended up looking through some of them, I noticed it says Mario. Some of them have like Mario Generations, and it has remixes to like old to levels that Mario's been through, and they have like a modern remix and an NES remix. And honestly, I thought that was kind of funny because it's bringing off the concept of Mario Generations. And like, I like the idea of Mario Generations. And I know what most people are going to say, oh, Mario Generations is a big rip-off of Sonic. Sega made the idea first. Yeah, we know that Mario Generations can't officially happen. But I like the idea and the concept of what that game could be, just from a perspective of a person who likes both Mario and Sonic and feel like I don't need to choose between the two. And the way Mario sets up his games, a Mario Generation game is possible for like a fan-made like idea. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm doing this discussion basically to discuss my opinion of what Mario Generations could possibly be like if it did exist in like an alternate timeline or something. Like if Nintendo thought of the idea first, I guess. And what I'm gonna do is like I'll discuss each of the events that happen in Sonic Generations and like what their Mario equivalent would be. So I'm more or less just gonna discuss Mario's universe just in Sonic Generation format, if that makes any sense. And in this video alone, I'm gonna do multiple parts because I can't honestly fit a whole like game's idea into one video. Basically, I'm going to discuss all of the in this video, I'm going to discuss the bosses and rivals that Mario would meet if he were in said Mario Generation game. Now, my idea of a Mario Generations game is pretty much using modern Mario, the Mario that was used in Super Mario Galaxies 1, 2, and New Super Mario Bros. Wii, and using that Mario as modern while using 8-bit Mario as classic Mario. Now, there are other incarnations of Mario, like they're different. Mario has had a lot more character changes than Sonic per se, but I think 8-bit Mario's the best because he started it off. So he's just alternately the best choice. So I feel like, and then like if they did make the Mario Generations game, I feel like the 8-bit Mario level should be side-scrolling, everything should be in 8-bit, like even Mario games like Mario Galaxy would be in 8-bit, and you would do them through 8-bit Mario's perspective, and while doing classic levels that were in 8-bit, or like in the Super Nintendo or 64, all of them, just do those in modern Mario format. Now, I know some levels have actually did that in Galaxies where you literally did a 64 level, but yeah, I just feel like they could be updated, look better, stuff like that. But without further ado, it's time to get into bosses and rivals of Mario Generations. Now, for this, I'm going to be using mostly Sonic music. I'm sorry about that. It's just I don't carry a lot of Mario music on me. I'm going to try and get more. I'm going to try and get some Mario soundtracks from the 25th anniversary collection or something. But as of now, I feel if I'm going to show off some of the bosses in Generation format, I want to show each boss off in equivalence to Mario's world. So let's get this started. As far as the classic era of Mario, I think the classic era would mostly revolve around Super Mario Bros. 1, of course, Super Mario Bros. 2, not the Lost Levels, the USA version, and Super Mario Bros. 3, because those are the three that I think they should revolve around. And the rival battle for that, honestly, I would have to say would have to be Donkey Kong, because technically Mario made his first debut in the Donkey Kong game for the Nintendo Entertainment System, and I think it, like, as far as Donkey Kong goes, Donkey Kong is one of Mario's oldest rivals, so I think it'd be appropriate. And besides, like, as far as rivals go, rivals fall under the category of enemies that you'll fight multiple times that sometimes may or may not help you, and Donkey Kong does fit that description because he seems more like a rival to Mario now than a full-out enemy. Yeah, so I could just imagine like Mario fighting off against Donkey Kong, 8-bit Mario would fight off against Donkey Kong in the same format that the actual Donkey Kong game was, where you dodge barrels and climb up ladders, stuff like that, and then you finally beat him. And that's how that fight would go. The boss battle for 8-bit Mario, or in the classic era, would have to be 8-bit Bowser, of course. Who else? You would fight 8-bit Bowser just like you did in Super Mario Bros. 1. However, just touching the axe and making him go down the bridge won't just be enough to beat him one time. You'd have to go through, I say Mario can go through like 3 castles, each representing the game that he was in. This is where Lost Levels does take an effect, because the Lost Levels version of the castle would be a lot harder, of course. So you would touch the axe a second time and make Bowser fall a second time. Then the third time you would fight 8-bit Bowser in the same way that Mario fought him in Super Mario Bros. 3. And then where he has to stomp on the ground and make himself fall through his own destruction. Or you can use the Fire Flower, obviously, to nuke him to death. And with that said, we move on to the, I want to call this the Super Nintendo / 64 / GameCube era. Yeah, I had to put all 3 of these in one setting because Mario's like didn't make as many games for one console. Like, he more or less made one game for Super Nintendo, one game for 64, one mainstream game for the GameCube. It's like those were Super Mario World, Sunshine, and 64, Sunshine, and Super Mario World. So with that said, I still think the rival battle for this would more likely be Shadow Mario from Super Mario Sunshine. Because Shadow, and then later on reveal itself to be Bowser Jr., of course. I think Bowser Jr. is the best in this because he was Mario. Technically, he's Mario's rival in the GameCube, and he's introduced in the GameCube era in the Super Mario Sunshine GameCube game. So I like the concept of Shadow Mario too. It's just, and like Bowser Jr. is a nice rival for Mario to have at that time because he just fits. Like, I couldn't find any other appropriate rivals for Mario to fight off against. So yeah, I feel that's the best choice. Now to move on to the boss battle. The boss battle in this one, I would have to say, would come from the Paper Mario series. Why? Because this boss battle has to not be Bowser, because Bowser is pretty much Sonic, the Mario equivalent of Eggman. So I feel like some godly-like being should be in order. I was gonna choose, I'm sorry if I mispronounce her name, but it's like Cactilla from the Super Mario Luigi Superstar Saga game. But I feel that Dark Queen from Paper Mario is more of acceptable of a godlike boss figure. So yeah, I just feel like it'd be a much more intense battle to fight off against her rather than just Bowser again or something like that. So yeah, it's just my opinion of what I think would be a suitable boss fight. And then like around the time where Mario beats up the Dark Queen enough, Dark Queen will probably like rage and get stronger, make the environment more destructive and everything. And yeah. So, and that's pretty much that fight. Now, as far as the modern era more than likely will have to revolve around, the Wii is around the time where Mario started making multiple mainstream games again. And in the Wii's era, he made New Super Mario Bros. Wii. He also made Super Mario Galaxy and Super Mario Galaxy 2. So the best rival battle, I have to say, however, would be his debut in Super Smash Bros. Brawl, where Wario came into play. And I think that the Wario fight, even though Mario was introduced to Wario a lot earlier, like really early. I think Wario in this incarnation would be the best as far as rival because he's been developed enough to where we can get a decent fighting character out of him now because he has his Super Wario form and all of that. And I say the battle should take place with Mario riding on Yoshi, and then he almost gets run over by Wario riding on his motorcycle. And the first half of the battle can be like a them going like in a side-scrolling really fast view with Mario running, but riding on top of Yoshi running really fast while Wario's riding his motorcycle. And the two fight it out for a while, and then you dodge bombs and stuff. You can make Yoshi eat some of the stuff that Wario throws and then knock it back at him. Then after that point, Mario leaves Yoshi and Wario leaves his motorcycle, which blows up. And then the two can like just duke it out right there. That's my vision of what that rival battle should be. And then yeah, that's pretty much the end of that. And the last but not least, this is the final boss, which would pretty much be the Egg Dragoon of the game. I feel that the modern era boss should be the battle that Mario had against Bowser in the Super Mario Galaxy 1. I feel this battle is more appropriate than Super Mario Galaxy 2 because, like, it just fits with the two fighting across the planets and everything. It just looks really cool. It's really cinematic. It really shows the epic battle that Mario and Bowser have been having, not just from that game alone, but from Mario and Bowser's history of being pure enemies. Like, this is the most suitable fight in the entire series to me. Like, this is probably one of my fighting Bowser on Super Mario Galaxy is like probably one of the best Bowser fights you'll ever be in. So I feel that the modern version, if Mario Generations existed, of course, should be more than likely like this. Like it fits. This is the battle between the two. It's pretty much like Sonic versus the Egg Dragoon at this point. Nothing's more fitting than watching these two duke it out right here across like what 3 or 4 different planets. And yeah, now as far as the Time Eater, the last boss of the game in Sonic Generations, the Mario equivalent of that, I'm not really sure right now, so you can all give suggestions, but on top of my head, I'd have to say, if you all are familiar with Kamek, the little magician-like minion for Bowser, I think Kamek should probably more than likely be the one to be like in control of the Time Eater. Like he accidentally makes Time Eater and Time Eater follows his bidding. And what Time Eater probably pretty much could be is like a mixture of all these bosses and stuff that Mario's fought in the past formed into one deity, if that makes any sense. I mean, yeah, I know it's unexpected, but Kamek is like, in Mario's world, Kamek is like a magician, but he's also like Bowser's minion and comic foil in the group next to, I forget her name. It's like Kamek's mother or whatever. Well, anyway, basically what I'm trying to say is that this, like Kamek being the comic foil, you wouldn't really expect him to be in control of a strong deity. So I just thought it'd be a pretty interesting concept. And I am aware that they also made Super Mario Brothers, what was the game called? Super Mario Brothers Partners in Time, which was similar to the concept of what Mario Generation might have been. But honestly, like I'm just saying, as far as a gameplay wise, if Mario Generation did exist, these would be my bosses fit for if said game exists. So I just thought that those would be interesting concepts to throw out there. No other, and there's also some remixes of each of these bosses that I've said. So if you didn't want to really hear the Sonic music that I'm putting over this, I'm sorry about that. It's just I don't have any Mario music, and I wanted to relate it to Generations as much as possible without putting Sonic in there too much. I just wanted to put in the concept, and I have played Sonic's music while playing like Mario fighting off against Bowser. Like I said, with Mario going off against Bowser, I played the Egg Dragoon theme, and it actually fits pretty well. So you might want to check that out if you have the chance. But anyway, yeah, those were my concepts of what Mario's rivals and bosses would be if said Mario Generation game existed. That's all I have for now. I'll make my other video later discussing levels. Tyrone the God 3 out.